Good morning. Please continue to enjoy your breakfast. We're going to go ahead and get started with today's ceremony. My name is Xochitl Mora. I'm the Director of Communications for the City of McAllen. I'll start out as the MC for today's 7th Annual International Women's Day Breakfast Symposium for Trailblazers here in the City of McAllen. So thank you all so much for joining us here this morning. Before we get started, I would like to recognize some of our special guests here with us today, including our city manager, who believes in this program wholeheartedly, Mr. Roy Rodriguez. Equally supportive of this program, Assistant City Manager, Mr. Jeff Johnston. And our own trailblazer here for the City of McAllen, Assistant City Manager, Ms. Michelle Rivera. I'd also like to thank all of the directors who are here today, especially our male colleagues who are here joining us and supporting us. Thank you so much. And finally, as I mentioned, this is our 7th annual event to celebrate Women's History Month and International Women's Day, and we have several past trailblazers who are here with us today. So if you would please stand and be recognized. We were so honored to recognize you each of those years and for the inspiration and work that you have contributed to our community. This event started in 2017, when a few months earlier from that, at a director staff meeting, it was noted that there was an equal amount of female directors to male directors. This is almost unheard of in government, whether it is local, state, or federal. And while that recognition is important, that is not what the purpose of this breakfast or any of the activities really that we host during Women's History Month. First and foremost, we must be allies to and for each other as women. Because if we don't stand up for other women, support other women, acknowledge, recognize, and celebrate other women and all of our amazing talents, accomplishments, abilities, and unique way of thinking and working, then how can we expect our male colleagues to do so? Today is about celebrating which each and every one of us brings to the City of McAllen and those in our community who are helping to make the city a better place for us as well as our children, our families, and all who live, work, and play in this great place where such a celebration can be held. Thank you, each and every one of you, for all that you do to make this organization a better one, for the public service that you provide to our residents, and for the work that you do that enhances our workforce and our community. I would now like to bring up our city manager, Mr. Roy Rodriguez, for a few remarks.
Good morning. And it's a beautiful day when you have so many beautiful women out in the crowd, right? You know, I speak a lot. I speak in front of cameras and whatever. I never get nervous, but this is for sure the 7th time that I am very, very nervous to be here in front of you. It's really, really nice to see all of you here, including former employees. I told you all you would regret it. They keep coming back, right? What a wonderful day here in the City of McAllen. The 7th Annual McAllen's International Women's Day. A day that we get to celebrate not only the talent of our female workforce, but also to recognize women that have had an impact in so many people's lives. Lives in our community and beyond. This event has evolved through the years, but one thing has remained constant, and that is our commitment to ensure that this day is a special one by honoring the very best in our workforce. First, I'd like to thank all of our female employees here and the ones that couldn't make it. Your work exemplifies the quality of services our citizens are accustomed to and demand. You are here because you were picked as the best at what you do. In McAllen, we insist that we hire the very best, and as it turns out, it's you. I'd also like to thank my special and wonderful spouse, Noelia, for being here today. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I wish I could say she's here to support me. She's not. She's BFFs with those girls over there in that table. But anyway, I'll take it. Thank you. The two women that were picked as our trailblazers this year, Sally Guerra and Carmen Pagan, are certainly most deserving. And they hold a very special place in my heart. I have seen them at work in our community and beyond, and the impact that they have to women and men right here in McAllen. I have seen them extend their hand to fellow human beings, to inspire, to lead, and to be a voice that we might not otherwise hear. It gives me great pleasure and honor to recognize Sally and Carmen. Thank you both for being here today and for helping us envision what we might be. Your leadership will always be noticed. Sally and Carmen, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. This is for you. This is a special day for the City of McAllen, and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, for your leadership and for allowing us to host this event for 7 years now. The list of women within the City of McAllen who are making a difference every day is endless, and we could recognize each and every one of you, but we picked a few, and so if you would turn your attention to the screens, we have a little story on some of our trailblazers here within the City of McAllen.
Today, we honor and celebrate the strengths, resilience, and achievements of women all around the world, and especially right here in the City of McAllen. We have three amazing women that truly embody the spirit of this day: Delilah, Marlene, and Judge Sepulveda. They make a difference every day within the City of McAllen and continue to break barriers, challenge norms, and inspire others to reach their fullest potential. Delilah, whose job is to take care of McAllen's environment, knows that the best way to inspire others is to learn from others.
None of us are perfect, and I think a lot of time you're learning more from those around you to help you to grow into that leader that you want to be.
Delilah reminds us that being a mother and a leader is truly a balancing act.
Being a mom, I think you get that perspective in your position where you want to take care of everything, but you realize you can't do it alone. You gotta work as a team. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
She encourages women to embrace their strengths and work collaboratively towards a common goal.
I think it helps you achieve that, to look at yourself to see what you need to change to be that better person, so that you are that role model.
Marlene Garza, a woman that works in a predominantly male industry, understands the challenges that come with being a woman in a position of leadership and responsibility. She shares her experience working in a male-dominated field.
Working with a group of mostly predominantly males. When I first got here, it's always like, well, they've been here longer than I have. They know more than I do. But at the end of the day, I was the one that had to have enough knowledge and taken enough initiative to make the decisions on behalf of the department.
Marlene's story reminds us that women have the skills and abilities to excel in any profession, and it's up to us to believe in ourselves and our abilities.
At the end of the day, I had to believe in myself as a woman, that even though there's all these males, that I can make those decisions, and that those decisions will be good ones that'll be long-lasting.
Marlene is a shining example of a woman who perseveres and believes in herself. Judge Sepulveda also wants to be an example for young women everywhere, showing them what a strong woman in a position of power looks like.
I was actually at an event last night and I almost started crying because a judge that I worked for when I was a young lawyer was talking about, hey, Judge Sepulveda's here. And I remember when she used to be my prosecutor and now she's a judge. And I think it kind of made me realize, oh, wow, I'm in that position now where I have transitioned to a different position. And there's these new young female attorneys that want to talk to me and want to figure out how to get where I am. And I think the best I can do in this position is just be the best judge I can be as fair and impartial as I can be, and be innovative and forward-thinking, and McAllen's great about that.
She shares her desire to be a role model for her niece and other women.
I want to be an example for her of what a strong woman in a position of power looks like in the city of McAllen, what a strong female lawyer looks like, and what someone who is dedicated to their community can do for the community where we're doing the right thing.
Judge Sepulveda's message is one of perseverance and determination. She reminds us that there are no limits to what we can achieve, and we must keep reaching high for our goals.
As a woman, I'm a little more compassionate. I want to hear the backstory. I want to know what's going on. I also think it helps, especially when talking to other women that come before me, maybe putting them at ease. But I really want to be an example to any of the women that come through my court that say, hey, look, I look just like you and I'm in a position and this could be you someday too.
She encourages women to persevere even when things get tough and to know that there is no limit to what they can achieve.
If I could give any advice to women out there, just in general, it's persevere. It's not always going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be harder for you probably than everybody else, but we're so good at doing the hard things and making them look effortless. So just continue doing what you're doing, and just there's no ceiling to what you can achieve. Just keep on reaching.
We as women can do that job, maybe not in the exact same way that a male can, but we might be able to bring different skills to the table that might help us excel in that job as well.
Always put your best foot forward, that you're the leader here, showcasing City of McAllen, so that those around you are proud to be part of your team too.
As the City of McAllen celebrates International Women's Day, let us remember these powerful messages and continue to work towards not only our own goals, but also helping other women along the way. Let us honor the contributions of women in all fields so that we can all walk with a purpose. For the City of McAllen, Leah Yaves.
So thank you, Delilah, Marlene, Judge Sepulveda, and of course all of you, again, for the work that you do for the City of McAllen. We were really proud to tell that story. So now let's get on to our symposium and our panelists, and I'd like to bring up our moderator and our trailblazers, if they can join me here on stage. Our moderator for today will be our Assistant City Manager, Ms. Michelle Rivera, who has a long, storied background in public service for various municipalities around the Rio Grande Valley, and of course our trailblazers. So enjoy.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Is this on? All right. Well, I am honored to be here on the stage with these two trailblazing ladies. It's my great pleasure to be able to introduce them. I have a bio, which is on your table, but I'm going to give you the highlights just because it's such an impressive list of accomplishments that these ladies have done so far in their lives, and they're very young already still, so they have much more to do. Sally Frausto Guerra is a McAllen, Texas native. She attended McAllen High School and received her bachelor's from the University of Texas Pan Am. She has been a real estate broker at Caldwell Banker La Mansion for over 20 years. In addition, she became the owner-publisher of that magazine we all love to read with such pizzazz, Social Life RGV magazine, which started in 2018. She's married to David Guerra, and they have 5 children and 3 grandchildren together. Sally wholeheartedly embraces giving back to the community by volunteering in multiple committees, boards, associations, and nonprofit organizations. She was chairman of the board. She's done a lot with the Chamber of Commerce. She was the chairman of their board from 2019 to 2020, has served on numerous boards for UTRGV and the Alumni Association, and she serves currently on the UTRGV's Football Founders Society. That's an interesting one. She currently also serves on the City of McAllen, so many boards, the Quinta Mazatlan Disabilities, Chamber of Commerce, RGV, McAllen ISD Education Foundation, Valley Symphony Orchestra, and most recently got appointed to a newly launched South Texas College Foundation Board. She's an alumni of Leadership McAllen, Class 13, Leadership Mission, Class 26, and RGV Partnership, Class 4. Sally's charity work extends to being gala chair and gala committees for numerous nonprofits over the last 25 years. Sally's also very competitive, and she competes in various dancing competitions. She has won. Let me see here. She won the McAllen Membership Chamber Drive several times, first place in 2008 at the RGV Diabetes Association Dancing with the Stars Gala, and won again first place in the RGV Dancing with the Stars Dance-Off. So maybe she'll do a number for us here before we leave.
I can sing and dance too.
She can sing too. One of Sally's favorite quotes is, "A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." Thank you for being here with us, Sally. And then another fantastic lady that I've gotten to meet through her husband, who worked with us for many years, Carmen Pagan. She's a bilingual speech-language pathologist and small business owner with more than 30 years of clinical experience in pediatric therapy. She specializes in the assessment and treatment of children with neuromuscular disorders, focusing on improving patients' respiration, oral motor, feeding, swallowing, and speech-language development, all designed to improve patients' functional skills. Carmen has worked in a variety of clinical settings and is co-founder and co-owner of Milestones Therapeutic Associates located in McAllen, Texas for 22 years. In addition to owning her own practice, she's also an NDTA pediatric speech instructor. It's an international organization focused on educating professionals across the globe in the latest clinical practice treatment strategies related to patient rehabilitation. Carmen teaches short-term seminars, courses, and teaches speech curriculum in the NDTA certificate course in the contemporary practice of NDT for the management of children with cerebral palsy and other neuromuscular disorder courses. Boy, did they make you say that as part of the course therapy? That's a mouthful. Carmen also currently serves as the chair of the certification committee for NDTA and is an active member of other committees. Carmen is married to Kevin Pagan, who I referred to earlier, and they have 2 adult children. Alec recently married Jackie, and Katie. Alec is a civil engineer with an international engineering firm headquartered in Dallas, and Katie has followed in Carmen's footsteps as a pediatric speech pathologist with a master's degree from Our Lady of the Lake University. Carmen enjoys spending as much time as possible with her family, and especially taking family trips with them. She's very active in the McAllen community and her church, Baptist Temple McAllen, as well as state boards and leadership organizations. She's a sustaining member of the McAllen Junior League and enjoys teaching and pursuing further education related to her profession. Carmen has also served as Texas Governor's Commission for Women for 14 years, including terms as chair and vice chair. And in addition, she was recently appointed by Governor Rick Perry to serve as a member of the Texas Department of the State Health Services Council. Welcome, Carmen Pagan. All right, I did my hard work, now it's your turn. We have a variety of questions that we're going to ask you to just give us your feedback on today, your honest feedback, and share with these ladies how you've become the wonderful women that you are in serving our community. So the first one is, if you would tell us a story about a bold moment in your career. Would you like to start, Sally?
Okay, sure, I'll start. I think, so I have 2 careers. I started in working for the maquiladora industry about 30 years ago, and I was working in logistics. I was an account executive. And one of those moments what made me pivot or switch careers was when I was dealing with families from all over the world, literally from Finland, Korea, everywhere. And they were bringing families down. And I was selling freight. I know that doesn't sound sexy at all, selling freight, but it paid very well. So I was meeting all these families and going to these events that MEDC would have. And that was when I realized, you know what, I want to help these families. They were having a hard time settling into the community, culture shock and all. So I went to go talk to Mike Allen and Keith Patridge about wanting to get my real estate license. And they were very supportive. And that's how I started. I got my license and started selling homes to the people that came down from Black & Decker, Nokia mobile phones, etc. So that was my first bold moment that I switched careers, that I took a leap of faith to do that. With the magazine, that other leap of faith, that my aha moment, I guess you could say, was at 5 in the morning when my good friend Pepe was trying to sell the magazine, and I decided to buy it because I had this vision of, while I was selling homes to all these people from all over the world, and now the university, UTRGV, I started helping them. I wanted to have a magazine, a bragging book about our community, to where having all the cities come together and showcase, like a photo album, you know. They had come down with this impression, negative impression, and my job was to lure them in and sell them a house, and they were like, what do we do in McAllen, or just, you know, certain bad comments. And so I wanted to change the image of our community, and that's when I asked the cities to come together and support the magazine and change that image and show what we have to offer. We have so much to offer in this city, you know, so many beautiful places to go, Quinta Mazatlan, and even our museums and our fine dining, and that we have a very good quality of education. So I wanted all that to come together in this magazine and showcase it to these new transfers from all over the United States and the world. So those were my two bold moments, I think.
Thank you, Sally. Carmen, can you give us a bold story moment about your career?
Sure. My boldest moment was starting my business 23 years ago. It says 22 there, but it's almost 23 years. It's hard to believe. I've worked in a variety of settings, from schools, Easter seals, here in McAllen for so many years. And there came a point in my life when the opportunity, with God's help, came up, and it was hard. It was hard to leave a secure job, but I knew that it was the right timing, and it was, you know, I have two business partners, Jennifer Griffith and Misty Standard, and they're amazing business partners, and we're still business partners to this day. And again, it was by the grace of God that we have had a very successful business. It started with just the three of us, a receptionist. We were everything. We were the janitor, we were the billing people, we were everything when we first started. And to grow from, you know, from such a small company, within 3 years, we were already, you know, booming at the walls. I mean, there was, you know, we were growing quickly. And I know the very first time that we rented our space, our husbands thought that we were crazy because, you know, it was, you know, 3,600 square, you know, it was a big place. You don't need such a big place, blah, blah, blah. And we just knew that, no, this is where we needed to be. And within 3 years, we had outgrown that. And we recently moved to a 14,500 square feet. We have over 80 employees, and I give God all the glory for that. So that was my biggest moment, is leaving my secure spot, my secure workforce place, to open up our own practice.
Thank you, Carmen.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about your strategies or techniques that you use to deal with naysayers, those negative Nellies?
Well, I think, like that saying goes, if you don't succeed, try again. Persistence definitely pays off. I'm kind of stubborn, right, Roy? Very stubborn, and I just don't give up. You know, always look at the glass. I know it's an old cliche, but look at the glass half full, not empty, and just never take it personal. I try not to take it personal when I've been told no, but I don't give up, and I just, you know, keep trying, and just, I hope I don't annoy anybody. You know, I have my limits, but it's just, you know, just don't take it personal. That's the way I see it. And there's a reason for everything, and the time will come. Have patience. That's another big virtue is have patience.
Good advice.
We'll always have the naysayers in life, but surround yourself with good, positive people. That's how I have the most amazing friends that I can, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm going to be speaking here. And just surround yourself with good people that you can count on. They're going to say, you know, you can do this. We're there for you. And that's my advice to all of you is to have a good group to rely on.
Great, thank you. Have you ever had to overcome cultural or generational obstacles to attain your current level of leadership?
I don't think cultural, but I think in today's day and age, more generational, especially in the, we're Generation X, and I think the millennials or the younger generation is more up to date with the social media and all these TikTok and I don't know what else is out there, but I think it's just hard to keep up with the younger crowd in that respect. But I think the younger generation needs to keep up with us and how hard we work, the real work. But I think really it's the generational that maybe it's hard to keep up with all the technology out there.
For me, 23 years ago, as a Hispanic woman here in McAllen, trying to open up our business, like we said, and getting a loan without our husbands. We wanted to do this as women on our own, and I cannot tell you how many places closed the door on us because we were female, and I'm Hispanic, and so forth. And I can honestly say that everything happens for a reason. The bank that did take gave us a loan are pretty happy to this day. But again, I used that as an opportunity when I was on the Governor's Commission for Women, and I was elected chair of the Subcommittee for Economic Development. One of the very first things I did was to set up a program where women throughout the state of Texas could just get on a link, and everything that they would need to how to start a business, what do I need to, business plan, everything they needed, I wanted to make it possible because what had happened to us, I didn't want to happen to any other woman. So, yes, I'm hoping 23 years later, women starting a business, it's a lot easier now, but yes, I felt that bias early on.
Thank you. Okay, here's a good one for you. What do you do to live a well-balanced life?
That's a hard one. I would say start with my iPhone, keeping everything there, in my calendar of events. And I think it's just having a very supportive family, especially my husband. I have a very, very supportive husband that allows me to be me and to do what I love to do. Also, like Carmen said earlier, is surrounding yourself with a great, circle of friends, great reinforcements, and just very strong women and men just to surround your life. Just, have positive people around you always. Positive attracts positive, right? So that's I think how I try to live a well-balanced life.
For me, a balanced life starts every morning. I can't start my day without God, and that's the honest truth. All my success is, glory to Him. And so starting my day, having my me time with Him every single day. And another thing that helps balance my life is on the weekends to really turn work off and really rest. So my Sundays, going to church and just really taking, when I can, there's times that I can't, but when I'm able to really take the time to spend with friends, take the weekend to turn work off, and just kind of refresh yourself for the week is the advice that I would give everyone. So, that's what works for me.
Good advice. Okay, for the next 4 questions, we'll let Carmen go first and give Sally a minute to reflect. How did you decide to pursue the career you're working in today?
Early on, as a little girl, I had a friend of mine who was hearing impaired, And this is, I know, close to Sally's heart as well. But I always wanted to do something that was going to help other people. And so I went to Pan American at the time, and they did not have a school for the deaf, which is what I wanted to seek a career in. And so the closest thing to it, I went and I observed the speech therapy program. I knew from day one that what I wanted to do was to help other people. Little did I know that that would open up the doors for me to work with the really medically fragile children with neuromuscular issues, and that opened the door for not just to open up my own business, but now travel the world. I just got back from Santiago, Chile last week, but travel the world to teach other people on how to help children that with special needs and that are really medically fragile. And so I can't believe I've come, this far in my career, but again, it's all by the grace of God and all the doors that have opened. So I'm really grateful and thankful for that.
Same question, right?
Yes. How did you decide
So
to pursue your career?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned a little before about how I started, but I'm an alum from UTPA, and I wanted to be a Spanish teacher. I loved the language, the culture, everything, but then I realized that I got into sales, so by accident. And throughout my whole career, it has had nothing to do with teaching, but so I've always been in sales. But that's where I kind of, in the real estate market, I wanted to, when you sell something, you're selling yourself and you're selling a product, and that's kind of a one-way street. So I wanted to make it into a two-way street to where, when you sell a home, you're selling someone a beautiful home, but I wanted to go farther than that and help them, immerse them in the community, help them fit in, welcome them into my home, and that's the same thing with the magazine. It was just everybody coming together and showcasing what we have to offer, and that's how I decided to do what I'm doing today. And also, my other jobs is all the charity organizations and nonprofits that I kind of started feeling guilty because I was doing good in sales, and I'm like, okay, it's time to give back. So I started volunteering in a lot of nonprofit organizations, and that's how it was my feel-good moment. Like, okay, I'm giving back because I feel so blessed, and me also. I thank God every day for my blessings, for the, for everything that I've received, and I want to, give back.
What would you consider to be your greatest professional accomplishment?
I'm going first. Of course, I've already talked enough about what I do and my business and stuff, but to actually see a little one here in McAllen, several patients, I can't even tell you, I've started seeing them since they were babies, but my biggest accomplishments being part of their life, to seeing a little one who was told would never walk, would never talk, would never be able to eat, be in a regular classroom, now attending college, now attending, local college and going away to college. And that to me is with God's help again, my greatest accomplishment. So.
With that being said, so my oldest daughter, this is about career, but is deaf. And so Carmen met her. I knew Carmen from high school. We went to high school together. And but my daughter, when I realized my daughter was deaf at 3 years old, I took her to Aptis. It was called Aptis, right? And she was a speech therapist. So Carmen was my daughter's speech therapist for 10 years. So I think our greatest accomplishment there, she's like our baby, that my daughter went on to graduate got her associate's degree from STC, and then went on to graduate from UTRGV, and now she works for our county judge, Richard Cortez. And yeah, because I think I've talked a lot about career, but that's my personal accomplishment, is my oldest being, what she is today, and thanks to Carmen and her love of her work and her passion.
Thank you. That's awesome. What would you say are the greatest challenges facing leaders today?
I think with everything, our economy, with us, having to deal with government reimbursement, and that changes so often. I think for us, in my career and in my type of work, that's been kind of the hardest thing for us. It's not like selling shoes and we get paid. The things are always changing, and so having to adjust, how we do things, how we run our company, how we just how we do everything has been hard. So, but. Again, we've been able to be successful for 23 years and continuing to take one day at a time. So,
I would say with me, the greatest challenge is that, well, pre-COVID, there was 850 realtors. Now there's 2,000. So there's a lot more out there. So you just have to give it your all, be passionate about what you do. Even with a magazine, people with social media, I do both. It's print and social media, but it's just keeping that alive and staying true to yourself and just being passionate about everything you do. Also the news, the news is very negative, so I try to educate myself about what's going on in the news, but sometimes it's just so negative, and I just pray every day that for world peace. I know that sounds kind of corny, but I do pray for world peace.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, you're both still very young. What goals do you still have left to accomplish?
It's hard to know, just whatever door opens. But someday I hope to leave a very successful business to the next generation that'll continue on the work that we've worked so hard for. So that's my goal.
Same here, just to continue being a role model, lead by example, especially to my children and my grandchildren, because I think they're in a very different world right now from ours. We're just, Generation X is just so used to, we're just so used to something very different, and my concern is the younger generation they're going to lose those social skills because there's so much on their phones, or it's all about the social media or the internet or their cell phones. So. What was the question? I'm sorry, did I answer right? I don't know, I got sidetracked.
What goals do you still have left to accomplish?
Yes, to turn off their phones. Well, just continue selling, and making the magazine to be, bigger and better. And hopefully, my goal is to retire within 10 years.
Very good goal. We have a lot of young women out here today that are just starting their careers out. And so what advice would you give 20-year-old you or any 20-year-old out there?
20-year-old me, I would say, don't fret about the doors that are closing, because God's got bigger plans. Because there were times like I didn't get this job, or I didn't get this opportunity, but you know what? With faith, there's bigger opportunities. Just keep striving, keep working hard. So that's the advice that I would give myself. For you really young generation, young people that are out there, because there's a lot of you, I would just say keep working as hard as you can work. If there's mentoring opportunities, if there's educational opportunities with the city, take advantage of them. It's so important to educate yourself. It's so important to better your skills, your knowledge, and give it your all. And that's the advice that I would give, is work with all your heart in anything that you do.
I would say, again, have patience. There's no shortcuts in life. Earn your stripes. It takes time. I think the younger generation tries they get very impatient. And I think all this takes time, and it's just, don't give up. Don't give up on school, on college. Just so you know, I was not on the 4-year plan. I was on an 8-year plan. But I didn't give up because I was working for MEDC. I had a very good job, but my goal was to graduate. And I remember Mike Allen telling me,
you don't have to graduate. You already have a lot of contacts. I'm like, no, Mike. What if something happens to you? I don't have your contacts anymore. So, so I continued slowly but surely. But I graduated, and hey, I became the last alumni president from the UTPA Alumni Association. So it's just don't give up and have patience.
I think that's great advice. And, like you mentioned before, with our kids always on their phones, they do have that mentality of now, I want it now, I want it in a minute. And so it's very important to have that patience that helps them to persevere when things are told to them that are negative or that they get pushed back, and to have the continuing education strive. Okay, we're going to switch back to Sally going first for the last few questions. What advice would you give someone pursuing a career in your industry?
In real estate, I would say if you graduate from school or get out of school, this sounds very negative, I would get a job first, because in real estate you have your own hours, so you have to have a lot of a willpower or be very structured. So in the real estate business, you have to, you don't have to clock in at 8 a.m. and clock out at 5. We're on our own, we're self-employed. So I just tell a lot of the younger generation, get another job. Not that real estate is not a real job, it is. But it's just, I feel for someone so young at 2021, I would say to go get a job first. And, well, the magazine is just, I'm looking for photographers. I'm always looking for photographers or writers. It's a fun industry, that owning a magazine. I knew nothing about owning a magazine. I just knew how to sell. But thanks to a great team that I have with like my managing editor here and my etiquette queen, it's about surrounding yourself with a great group of people, smart women, smart men, and that have a passion for what they do. Always have a passion for whatever you do.
The advice I'd give is in the health field, in the government field, in any field you may be considering, is just to, if you're not sure about it, there's many shadowing programs, mentoring programs. We have people that come from all over the state to Milestones. And I know, when my husband worked for the city, he had students asking him, can I work, can I clerk here, can I observe? Come and take that opportunity when it's available to, sorry, my phone's going off. Take that opportunity to go and see what they're doing, because you might get there and you're like, you know what, this really is for me, or that's not. But I would take that, as the first, as your first step, is to see if this is something that you're really wanting to do, because there's so many programs out there, and people want to help, and they're wanting you to succeed. So that's my advice, is take that opportunity to do so.
When you talk about the mentoring, we always joke every summer that the legal department at City Hall became the SMU wing.
Oh, yeah.
He always had multiple interns and helping them to grow into young lawyers. What do you consider your superpower?
My superpower. Well, I've been told by several people that my superpower is they call me the connector. A long time ago, during college or high school, I don't know, I just would pray to God and say, put me at the right place at the right time. Let me be that missing piece of the puzzle or to make it whole or to connect the dots. So I love connecting people, having them come together, strangers meeting strangers and becoming great friends. And that's what I've been told I am, the connector. I think it was Carlos Sanchez from the Monitor that first called me the connector, and it stayed with everybody. So that's what I love to do. Like I said, it's like when I pray to God, just put me at the right place at the right time to help people or make them come together.
And as Sally mentioned, she's a great connector, by the way. And as, she mentioned God is my connector. I can't do anything without my faith. And so that's number one. And and just the passion that I have to help others, to be there for others. You know, I would say that to me is, I think, my superpower. I don't know if I have a superpower, but God is my superpower. So, yes.
Thank you. This last question's a great one. So, when you're interviewing people for positions, what are the qualities you're looking for in a potential new hire?
Their personality, one, for them being just confident, being themselves, being confident. And there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. Sometimes those two get, some come across as very arrogant, and then some come across as very confident. I mean, but not too confident, but just being true, having that right quality of personality, and being very sincere, being themselves. Because we've been around for a while, so we can see through those who are not being true, to us or to themselves. So I think confidence and being positive, having the right attitude is key. Their character.
For me, in my line of work, it has to be, do they have a passion? Do they have a passion for working with children? Because we deal mainly with children. And, of course, do they have the experience, and are they willing to learn? I have a friend of mine who she just passed away. She was 97 years old. She was still taking courses, still wanting to learn, still wanting to better herself. So do they have the passion to continue to grow within themselves? And so that's one of the things, that we look for in our employees.
That's great. Are there any final words of wisdom that you want to share with this group before we open it up to them for questions that they might have?
I would just say that in whatever you do, whether it's real estate, working for the city, for a magazine, for Carmen's any healthcare industry, just have a passion. Again, that's love what you do. Just love what you do, because it'll show, and just be true to yourself. Be real. There's just, again, because of social media, there's just I don't know. I'm old-fashioned, I guess. But just have a passion for what you do and love what you do.
And I pretty much ditto everything Sally said. The only thing I would add to that is, whatever you do today, do it with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. Do the very best that you can in the work that you are doing today. Because trust me, people are noticing, people see what you're doing, and just do it with all your heart.
Thank you both very much. I think we're going to open it up to the audience for any questions they might have. Does anyone have some questions?
I have a question for Carmen. We were here at the table. Can you tell us what bank did believe in you?
It was First National at the time. But many closed the doors, and I'm sorry to say that. Yeah.
Anyone, any questions?
I want to thank Lauren, Delilah, Marlene, Carmen, and Sally for being brave souls today and giving us a piece of yourselves and sharing your successes with us. You're an inspiration, and we thank you for your leadership, all of you.
Thank you for having us.
Carmen and Sally, thank you so much for being part of this wonderful tradition we started here with the City of McAllen as trailblazers here in our community. We're proud to welcome you to this wonderful alumni group that we have developed here, and of course, to serve as leaders and role models and inspirations for our workforce. So thank you so much. We have some gifts for you today, and to all of you for joining us. Thank you so much for what you do, as I said again, what you do for the City of McAllen, and go out and make today a wonderful day for yourselves and for each other. Continue to support the women in your lives.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Roy, thank you.
Thank you, Roy.